Hey everyone, okay, so today is Saturday the 6th of January and I was supposed to be filming some videos today for you, the educational tip ones, and I woke up with an eye infection. Here it is. It's really sore. It was really swollen this morning when I pressed down on the lid. Nasty stuff is coming out, so I've got to deal with that, and unfortunately that means I cannot film. I'm so sorry. I realised that not everybody liked the last two videos. They were just a little bit of nonsense. And I also realised I'm not a talky channel. It is a makeup channel. I am aware of that. So I do apologise that there's no makeup video this week. What I thought I would do, if you care to stick around, is tell you about my week, because it's been absolutely miserable. So two things happened. One's to do with the car. The other is to do with electricity company and gas company. So I'm just going to bore you with it because I've had an absolute titsful. And why not? Let's start with the car. So I wanted to buy myself a new car. A really nice one as well. So I did, or tried to. I went down to BMW where I live, and I wanted to buy an X5, ridiculous car, but I just really wanted it. And it's been, last year was incredibly, I worked very hard last year and I just really wanted this car. So I went there and they found the car that I wanted, and it was in another dealer, and they asked me for £1,000 deposit, which they got, and therefore it would secure the car. That isn't what happened. They got the deposit, but when they called the dealer, instead of calling them first to check that it's available before they took the deposit, ultimately the car got sold. And I didn't find this out until 3 days after I'd paid the deposit. And that was after me chasing them, because I knew something was up, because I was calling them and saying, I've got an appointment with my car insurance. I need to know what day this is being delivered so I can get everything sorted. They didn't call me back. They didn't email me back. And when they did email me back, it was there was a slight tone to the email. So on the Saturday, I went down there, and on the Monday, I actually called the dealer where the car was, and they said, no, we sold it. We emailed them Friday to say we sold it, which is really naughty. So I couldn't get the car. Instead, I got an active tourer, so way cheaper and absolutely practical. It's a plug-in one. It will do about 50 miles of range. It's great. I wanted the X5, but don't get me wrong. But even purchasing this car wasn't a fun process. I found the car I'd like, and it wasn't situated here, but it was within group. And it was situated in Ireland. And what happened was, I said, this is a car I'd like. They said, look, great. We will get a transporter unit over to them, and then they can pick up the car and bring it back. Great. Once again, massive lack of communication. I was doing all the phone calls. Even on the day before it was to be delivered at 5 o'clock, I called them and said, is it even being delivered? Because I'm getting zero help from you, zero contact. And there was massive problems with insurance for this car as well, despite the fact that it was a small car. And there was just huge problems, zero contact, the way that I would expect somebody to contact me. I was constantly calling them. So the transporter went to pick it up, and Saturday morning when I was supposed to go and get it, I get a call from them to say the car is here, hurrah. However, it's now got nearly 600 miles of range on it. And I'm like, how is that possible? It's a brand new car. And they said, well, and the text actually said, well, it had problems getting on and off the ferry. And I was thinking, you put 600 miles on a car going back and forward on and off a ferry? No. What they did was they didn't send the transporter unit because, let's be honest, it would have cost them too much money. So they sent somebody over to drive the car from where the dealership was in Ireland to the ferry, then from the ferry all the way to myself in South Wales, putting nearly 600 miles on the car. And they told me that the day that I picked it up. it was just awful, awful service. And when I did get in the car, after I'd paid the remainder of the balance, I sit in the car and the computer system doesn't work. Not at all. It's stuck in Munich and we couldn't get it to work. Thankfully, there was actually someone there who was really nice, and he actually opened up the shop, because I picked this up on the 30th of December, and he actually opened up the shop on the 31st and got a technician in who I knew from Mini, and they fixed the issue. But the experience was so negative with all the phone calls that I was having to do and constantly driving down there to check what's happening with the cars and the updates and the insurance. It was an awful experience and so stressful, because it generally felt like they just didn't care. If they didn't care about the really high-end car, they're certainly not going to care about this lower end one, compared to them, figuratively speaking. I don't think it's a low-end car at all. But it goes to show, service piss poor, but those two guys did a wonderful job in fixing the issue, at least in terms of the computer system. But to drive a brand new car without the owner or the potential owner's consent, it's just shocking. So as this was going on, I had an issue with my energy company. Now my energy company is, or was, OVO. I've been with them for a long time. There was a slight mix-up where I got switched from OVO to Octopus. And the switch only happened for 3 days, and then OVO pulled it back. So my gas and electric went to Octopus, and then OVO pulled it back. And because I was with OVO, there's this anytime bolt-on that allows you to charge your electric car for about 7p a kilowatt. So it's particularly cheap to do that. So I had this bolt-on put in, and my energy was back with OVO, and I'm good to go. And then I started to notice that the readings from the smart meters weren't feeding through, and I was calling them. Now in total, during the course of 5 days, I spent 9 hours, 24 minutes, and 17 seconds, look at my phone, on the phone to OVO to deal with this problem. And there was a problem with the smart meters not reading, and they didn't know what it was, but nothing to worry about. You can still plug your car in during the day and it will charge at 7p a kilowatt. Don't worry about it. All that kind of stuff. In case you're wondering, they never called when they said they would. They never emailed when they said they would. They did nothing. Me, realizing something was not correct, did a little bit of digging, went on a database and found out that OVO had only requested the gas from Octopus, not the electric. So when they said plug in your car whenever you want, that, and I'll be charged 7p, that didn't happen. They never had my electric. Octopus did. So I was being charged at full rate by Octopus instead of OVO, who said that they had the electric. And it took OVO a week, a full week, to admit the mistake. Now when I contacted Octopus, they said they've never requested the electric from you, ever. And we can prove it. And they emailed it over. There it was. Now, when I phoned OVO and said, can you prove that you requested the electric? They said, we can't give you that information. Well, Octopus did, but you couldn't, OVO couldn't. And it took them a week to admit it. And the stress of constantly phoning them because there was a problem, and I knew there was a problem. And they just truly did not care. They did not care about fixing it. They didn't care. And it blew my mind that the customer service level was so poor, really poor. To give you an indication, Octopus emailed me every time they said they would and called every time they said they would. I am now staying with Octopus. I'm on a great tariff that gives me 7.5p of cheap electric every night from 11:30 till 5:30 a.m. To give you a good example, yesterday I charged the car, which has only got a small battery. I charged the battery that's in the attic for the solar. I put the washing machine on, the dishwasher, and then the tumble dryer. And yesterday it cost me £2.20 for all of that. So that means my battery is running the house throughout the day, £2.20. That was it. I'm now staying with Octopus, and I'm going to pull the gas from Ovo because they can sod off after what they've done, and Octopus can look after that as well. I'm not sponsored by anyone, obviously, but I have a code. I'll give you the code if you want to switch to Octopus. I think you get like £50 back. No, you get like £50 cash or £50 credit, something like that. I'll put the code in for you, and you know, if you want to switch, you can. But those things combined, the problem with the car, the problem with Ovo, it got me to the point where I was so upset that I started to cry. Grown man, had a little tear because I was that frustrated with no one getting back to me, and I am very busy. And the fact that nobody was getting back to me when they said, the fact that they cared that much, both the companies, the car, there was just zero help. At one point with BMW, I said to them, because of the insurance issues, you need to assign the number plate, and this was on a Wednesday, because the insurance company cannot find the car, they cannot pick it up. If you assign the number plate, they'll be able to pick it up, and it would take them 24 hours. I drove down there in the morning on the Friday and said, have you assigned the number plate? They were like, no. It's just been such a bad week, it really has. There you go. I wanted to rant, and that is exactly what I've done. I don't even know how long I've been ranting for, but it's probably way too long, and most of you will have turned off, and God knows I don't blame you. But it's been a miserable week. I've had a guts full of it. I've had a guts full of the car company. I probably will never ever buy another BMW because of the experience I had there. Here's another funny story. Today I had to go because my mother's car needs replacing. I had to go, and I went to a couple of different dealerships. Both of them were not friendly or kind or even seemed to care about the business. I then went to Toyota in Newport. I was greeted by two people, both of whom were lovely. Both remembered my name on the second visit and treated me like they wanted my custom. They treated my mother really kindly. They will be getting my custom, and my mother will have a different car from them because they behaved how I expect people to behave. Kindly, like they care, like they want to do the job that they're assigned to do. Anyway, there you go. I'm sorry, but look, I'm bathing it in the warm, salty water as I normally do. It isn't making a difference this time. I don't know what kind of infection this is, but when I press here, this little tiny hole underneath the eyelid opens up and pus comes out. I've got antibiotic drops. They're not doing any good either. Just wonderful. I had this great video planned for you. This really good one. Great tip. Gives you the most beautiful, flawless, watercolor-like effect on your skin. And I can't do it. Just sod's law. Thank you for watching, and I will see you hopefully with a good eye. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.